Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do part 1 of chapter 2 review and summary, pre-algebra math today. And for classwork sheet, you have 28 points for your classwork sheet. And then you have 16 points into your notebook guide or your notebook. Chapter 2 review, and these are your standards up here that we're covering. And name, date, period. Students, onliners, put your due date here. Onliners, homeschoolers. And then we're going to go in work for today. And that was your bell work. For the given expression, identify the terms, like terms, coefficients, and constant terms, and simplify the expression. So here is our original expression here. So we need to identify the terms, and each one of these is a term here that's separated by a mathematical operator. These are called terms. Each one of these are terms here. And then for here, we're going to combine. So we're going to group like terms together. So we have 8 plus 2y plus negative 1. 8 plus 2y plus negative 1. We're going to put this inside parentheses here. And then negative 9y plus 3. So we're going to use parentheses here to separate our negatives away from our other positives here. Negative 1, we put it inside of parentheses. Then negative 9y, we're going to put that in parentheses too. It just makes it easier to combine values when you put things into parentheses. So our terms here are 8, 2y, negative 1, negative 9y, and then 3. These are your terms. And then like terms are 2y and negative 9y. So 2y and then negative 9y. These are like terms because they both had the same variable. And then 8 and then negative 1 because they are constants, and 3. This is 3 over here. So each one of these are constants. And then coefficients here. 2 is a coefficient. And then negative 9 is a coefficient here of y. And then constant terms again are 8, negative 1, and 3. So those are constants. Yeah, that's right. Negative 9 is a coefficient for negative 9y. Okay, so, and then 8 is a constant, negative 1 is a constant, and then 3 is a constant. Okay, so now, we're back to combining this expression here to find the value of it, then simplify the expression. Simplify that thing, you'll just combine like terms, and then we have another one here, negative 3p plus 2 plus p minus 4. So again here, we're going to put our negative 4 in parentheses. Our negative 3p, we're going to leave that out, I guess. So our terms here are negative 3p, 2p, and then negative 4. Then like terms are negative 3p and p, and then 2 and negative 4 would be like terms. And then coefficients, again, here's a coefficient. Negative 3 is a coefficient of p. And then 1 here, there is actually a 1 here. There is a 1 here. That's coefficient. And then our constants are 2 and then negative 4. And then when we combine these all together, negative 3p plus p, we're going to group. We're going to move our p over to here. So negative 3 plus 1p would be negative 2p. And then 2 and then negative 4 would be negative 2. So we have negative 2p plus negative 2. So negative 2p and negative 2 would be a simplified version of this expression. Okay, let's go into our first example here. So 2.1 properties and operations, evaluate the expression. So we have this expression here, 57 plus 28 plus 13. So we're going to add all these together, use order of operations, 57 plus 28 plus 13. So we have 28 plus 57 plus 13. We can move stuff around if we want. Commutative property of addition. We can do that if we want. Depends on what you want to do. But 28 plus 57 plus 13 is another example here of the associative property of addition. When we can make different groupings here, that's the associative property. And then 57 and 13 is 70 plus 28. So what's 28 plus 70 is a question. It'd be 98. So that would be the simplified form of that expression. Then we're going to go into another example here, properties and operations of part B here, negative 5 times 19 times 20. So negative 5 times 19 times 20 would equal, we're going to use a bracket here, negative 5 times 19 and 20, use order of operations. So rather 19 times negative 5 times 20, commutative property of multiplication. We can move this 19 out here and multiply it by a negative 5. Doesn't matter. You'll get the same result. So, and then 19 times negative 5 times 20. Again, another example of the associative property of multiplication. We'll still get the same answer. So 19 times negative 100, negative 5 times 20 would be negative 1900. So we would multiply 19 times negative 100. So evaluate the expression and justify each of your steps. So we have 5 here times negative 3 times 12. And then down here, students, this is yours. We're going to do this one up here right now. So for this one, evaluate the expression. So 5 times negative 3 times 12, it'd be 5 times negative 3 times 12 will be negative 3 times 5 times 12. We could do that too. And then we can even move it out further here. Negative 3 times 5 times 12. And so it'll be negative 3 times 60. We're going to multiply 5 and 12 together. Negative 3 times 60 would be negative 180. That'd be one way you could do it. You could also go negative 3 times 12 be negative 36 times 5 would also be negative 180. So that'd be another way to do it. Okay, let's go into another example here. 2.2, the distributive property. Remember that. Use the distributive property to evaluate 5 times 204. So 5 times 204 would equal 5 times 200 plus 4. Rewrite 204 as 200 plus 4. We could easily do that. So 5 times 200 plus 5 times 4 is the distributive property of multiplication. This would be 1000 plus 20, which would be 1020. That'd be another way that you could multiply this out. Another example of the distributive property, write an expression equivalent to 4 times 3x minus 2. So 4 times 3x minus 2 would be the same thing as 4 times 3x minus 4 times 2. This would be the distributive property. So we get 12x minus 8 would be a simplified, or rather a more of a reduced expression for 4 times the quantity 3x minus 2. Okay, let's try this one. Use the distributive property to evaluate this expression. So we get 7.95 times 4. Students, is yours down here. We're going to do this one up here first. Distributive property, 7.95 times 4. So 7.95 times 4 would equal 8 minus, this would be another way of doing it, 8 minus 0.05. 7.95 is the same thing as 8 minus 0.05. This would be another expression, an equal expression to this. So when we do that, it would be 8 times 4 minus 4 times 0.05. So it would be 32 minus 0.2, which would be 31.8. So that would be another way of solving this problem up here. Okay, on to our next example here. So we got 2.3, simplifying variable expressions. Identify terms like terms coefficients and constant terms of the expression 7n minus 5 minus 3n plus 2. So the terms are 7n negative 5, negative 3n, and 2. Like terms will be 7n and negative 3n because they both have the same variable. And then negative 5 and 2 are constants. And then the coefficients are positive 7 and negative 3. And then the constant terms are negative 5 and 2. So we did that. Do we have to simplify this? We should, but we may not have to. Let's go into another example here, simplifying variable expressions. So we have simplified this expression, 3p plus 5 minus 8 times quantity p plus 2. So this would be 3p plus 5, and then negative 8 times p would be negative 8p, and then negative 8 times 2 would be negative 16. We're using the distributive property of multiplication here through the parentheses. And now we have this expression, 3p minus 8p plus 5 minus 16. Plus 5 minus 16, we're going to group like terms. And then when we combine like terms, we have negative 8p and 3p be negative 5p. And then 5 minus 16 would be negative 11. So that would be a simplified expression from the original here. Okay, let's try guided practice here. Identify terms, like terms, coefficients, and constant terms. So we have 12 minus 7k plus 9 minus k. So what are we going to do with this? Okay, so identify terms, like terms, coefficients, and constant terms. So in this expression here, we're going to put our negatives inside parentheses here. We have negative 7k and then negative k. And then we have 12 and 9 outside parentheses there. So our like terms will be 12, and our terms in general here will be 12, negative 7k, 9, and negative k. Like terms, of course, will be negative 7k and negative k, and then 12 and 9. Coefficients will be negative 7, negative 1. And then constant terms will be 12 and 9. And that is your first part of Chapter 2 Review and Summary. Animated PowerPoint Math Video, AOL.com for questions or course materials. Thank you very much.